Hello Art 1-2, here is your demonstration on how to draw the first drawing of our negative space drawings, the guitar. So yes, you do have to draw that guitar. I'm going to take you step by step on how to draw that item. And the things that you will need is a sheet of the largest piece of paper that you have in your set. The picture of the guitar is in our Google Classroom. You can just look at the video while I'm going through it and use that, or you can look at the picture and follow the steps along with the video. In this packet is some handouts that we're going to use for this project, and on the back side of that page is the little practice papers for each item. You are going to do a practice for each item first along with the video, and then you can listen to the video and walk yourself through it again for your final draft. You can watch the video as well to walk through it once again. So this is your practice paper. It's like rough draft, and then this is final draft. I'm going to draw on final draft so that you can see what it would look like, but you are going to do it first on rough draft, watch the video again, do it on final draft. So on your rough draft, you do not have to do borders or nomenclature, but on your final draft, you do. So on the final draft, I'm going to line my ruler up along the edge. I'm going to trace the ruler all the way around for my borders. You're going to do this for every single final draft or sketch that you do. Pretty much anything you're going to have to turn in. So you are going to have to turn in this drawing, even if you do not choose it for your drawing. It's still part of your grade. I am drawing pretty heavy and dark so you can see it with pencil, but you need to draw super lightly. My paper's a little bit crooked. All right, so nomenclature, first name, last name, and period, so that I can see it for grading purposes. Okay, so remember, you are doing your practice along with the video on this paper first. You will get better results. You will be impressed with yourself. Okay, in Google Doc 3 are your steps. So all you need for this assignment is Google Doc 3. I'm going to walk you through it, have it open. You need your ruler, you need the yellow old school wooden pencil, and you're probably going to need the eraser, I'm assuming. So it is very important that you draw very lightly. It is part of your grade. It is called craftsmanship. All right, so step 1, it says divide the space in half, and that leaves room for the head and neck versus the body. So we call this the head of the guitar, neck of the guitar, body of the guitar. We have shoulders of the guitar and hips of the guitar on the sides. So it's like a lady guitar. If I measure it, it's about half and half. So I'd have half the paper for the top half the paper for the bottom half. So I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to just guesstimate halfway. And you're going to do a really light dash line halfway for yourself. I'm doing it in marker so it's easier for you to see. Step 2 says divide the top half into thirds. And the top third is going to be the head. So we have like 1, 2, 3 heads. So I'm going to divide into thirds, and I'm going to pull that guideline over. So I have room for the head at the very top. Then it says step 3, find the middle of the bottom half, move up a little, and make a guideline. And essentially what we're doing is we're trying to give ourselves a guideline where this curve happens so that we can get it on the, so we can get it in the right place on both sides. So here's halfway. I'm going to come up a little bit. All right, and I'm going to pull that guideline over. Step 4 says block in rectangle head. So I just want you to notice that this is a long, skinny rectangle. So we want to make it pretty skinny so it looks long on there. All right, so I've blocked in. When you break something down into shapes, we call it blocking in. Then it says draw the neck slightly wider at the shoulders. Use a ruler to draw in the final draft. On this paper, you don't have to use a ruler unless you really want to, But on this paper, for sure, use a ruler. If you want a straight line, always use a ruler. It's part of your grade. It's called craftsmanship. Okay. So remember, this is super light in pencil because we're going to go on top of this. Then step 6 says add curved guidelines for shoulders, which are narrow, and the hips, which are wider. So usually I'll just guesstimate like how far out do I feel like the shoulders are. Maybe like here. And then I'll pull that down, little guidelines, and I want my hips to be wider. So notice that the hips are wider more towards the bottom of the guitar. And so I'm going to pull out a little bit further for the hip guidelines. So I have curved guidelines for the shoulders, curved guidelines for the hips. If it's easier for you to super lightly hold your pencil at the very, very end, like a wand, sorry, this way, you could, some people like to use like an oval shape. If that helps you, that's fine, do that. Step 7, follow your eye around slowly around the guitar to draw the detailed contour outline. So we are just drawing the shape, and then we'll go back and add some negative spaces. Okay, so looking very closely at that image in Google Classroom, at the top it has like little steps, I guess you could say, that come down, and I'm slowly following my eye for the little tuners on the side, and then it comes in, it narrows, and then becomes the neck. So over on the other side, I see little spaces where the tuners stick out. It narrows in, and we have the neck. Okay, so now I'm going to follow my eye along the shoulders. And it's a little bit straight, and then it curves. And so a little bit straight, and then it curves. Oh, let me bring that in. So I like to do a little bit on one side and a little bit on the other to try to get it to be even. Of course, you're drawing with pencil, it's much easier. Okay, so then it's like a slow curve until I get to this guideline here. So it tapers in and slowly curves out. Okay, so I have my hips of the guitar, the part where it sticks out the most on the side, and then it flows in and down. So then to try to get the other side, sometimes I'll train my right brain and trace over, kind of hover over, and then go on the other side and try to make that same movement so you can get some muscle memory happening. My left side of everything is always better. Okay, so then I'll take a look and I'll look at it from a little bit further away. Does it look even? I feel like it needs to come in a little bit here. Maybe curve out a little bit more there. So then you can adjust. So if you're a sketchy drawer like I am, you just need to erase and kind of clean up your line so it's a single line. Okay, so then step 8, it says find a circular item to trace the circle, space, or hole. And usually I would put guidelines first. So I'm going to look at how wide the circle is compared to the neck on this drawing, and it's just slightly wider. And where does it line up with? It's like where the bottom of the curve is. So I kind of look at, okay, bottom of the curve, slightly wider than the neck, how much space is above it, maybe like here. So now I have a guideline for something circular that I need to find to trace. So circles are near impossible to draw. Find something to trace. I did not bring something over here with me to trace, so I'm going to give myself a couple guidelines. But on your final draft, please find something to trace that's about that size because we want it to be a nice circle. Okay, so up at the top there are some negative spaces where the little tuners are in the head of the guitar. So I'm going to put those spaces in that I can see. It looks like little half circles, like 2 little rectangles, and another little half circle on both sides. So I have some negative spaces there. That just adds some visual interest, because if you choose this as your final draft, then you can put patterns in there. All right, so then voila, you are finished, and you're gonna set this one aside. You can put it back into your portfolio, and then tomorrow we're going to draw the fish. Okay, try your best, follow the steps. Remember, it might feel a little uncomfortable when you're first trying to do this, because you're training your right brain to connect to your left brain, to pick out details and draw what you can see and not what you know.